Hello and welcome to the Teacher Chris Learn by Play Piano series. This is lesson number 8 in the series. Now, if you've just happened upon this video and you're interested in taking piano lessons, go ahead and click on my name down below here and head to my home page. You'll find I have a playlist that is for all ages and then another playlist for YouTube Kids if you just have the YouTube Kids app. So go ahead and click on one of those playlists and get started on lesson number 1, and we'll see you in the practice studio. Now for lesson number 8. So this week we're going to be doing something just a little bit different. Instead of me walking you through the next piece of music, showing you every single note, what to write in the music, and even playing it for you before you try playing it yourself, you're going to actually try this piece out right off the bat without any prior knowledge of the piece or hearing it before you play it. This is kind of like if you were in a classroom and you had a textbook in front of you and the teacher asked you to read page like 72 and they want you to read it out loud to the rest of the classroom and don't make any mistakes. That's kind of what sight reading is. You've never seen the music before and you're asked to play it from beginning to end without any mistakes whatsoever. It's actually a lot easier than it seems, especially at the stage that you're in right now with what you've been doing with reading music. So let's go ahead and turn to page 39, Mexican Hat Dance, and see how you should approach sight reading this piece. Now, the first thing that you should look at whenever you start a piece of music is the time signature. We can see right here that it is in 4/4 time. That just means that there are 4 counts in every measure. And if we set the metronome to like a certain tempo, the quarter note gets the beat. So this is in 4/4 time. That just means that there are 4 counts in every measure. The next thing you want to do is look at the starting position for the hands. Now, we have been in C position all this time, so it's not really any secret that we're going to be in C position for this piece. However, let's look at what you should do whenever you look at a piece of music, especially if you don't know whether it's in C position or one of the newer hand positions you'll see down the line. So if you look at the first measure, you're going to see that number 1 right there underneath the first note. And that first note is a G in the left hand. So we know to take your thumb and line it up with the G. Now, if you look at the second line, what you want to do is look for when the right hand comes in or when the other hand starts to play. And in this case, it's the second line of the piece. And we can see that it's a G and it's your pinky finger number 5 up on that G. And that tells us that we are in C position. You can see G in the left hand, finger number 1, G in the right hand, finger number 5. The next thing you do is you look for complex measures. Now, I did something in advance here. I did that orange thing that we did in the last lesson, which was just to outline in orange where the thirds going down are. Now, there are thirds also going up on this page in between measures. I'll show you right here. This E to this G. And this E to this G right here. Also in the third measure, there's a lot more notes. There's some quarter notes instead of half notes. So in your mind, try playing it. Just kind of imagine what it's supposed to sound like in your head. Maybe even kind of tap on your leg what the finger numbers are, what fingers play what. Okay, and then the last thing you do is you look out for any articulations, like for instance, there's slurs in this piece. You look for the dynamic markings. It looks like it's just forte throughout the entire piece. And then stuff like repeat signs and other little things that you may want to take note of before you try playing it. Okay, so now that we have looked through the piece together, just taking note of anything that may be a problem for you, go ahead and pause the video and try sight reading this from beginning to end. Don't play it more than really 1 or 2 times. Really, the first time is really the only time that is the sight reading. That's the only one that counts, is the first time through it. So count yourself in, give yourself 4 counts before you've come in. 1, 2, ready, play, and then try to launch into the entire piece. See if you can play it all the way through with the half notes, the quarter notes, and all the correct notes. And I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so how did you do? It's not as difficult as it seems since you've started to really read music well and find thirds and find seconds and know what the right hand notes and the left hand notes are for C position. Why don't I go ahead and play it for you now and you can see how you did. So again, it starts with the left hand here and it's G2, E2, G2, E2, and then D, E, F, D, E2, C2. Now the right hand, G2, E2, G2, E2, D, E, F, D, C2, 3, 4. Now repeat, G, 2, 2, 2, 2, E2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4. So how did you do? Did you get anywhere close to that? You may have not played it as fast as I just played it there, but even playing it slow is quite a good accomplishment as far as like your first time out sight reading a piece of music. Now, this piece really doesn't go over any new material. It's the same thing as what you've been doing in the previous pages, which is reading notes in the C position and also thirds. So this won't be part of your assignment this week, but if you do want to play through it and work on it this week, you're more than welcome to do that. Now, if you're interested in sight reading other music and also just exploring some other supplemental material, they have a lot of books in the Alfred series that deal with your level of study. So remember, you're in the Lesson 1A book. And that 1A, that level 1A, actually spans across a bunch of different books that they have that I have on my website and also in my description of my YouTube page. So if you go to my YouTube page, I also have them listed there. And those are affiliate links, just to let you know. They kind of help out the channel a little bit. But they look like this. This is the Note Speller book, and I'm going to show some other books around my head here. The Note Speller book here is kind of like a workbook, and it has all sorts of different exercises and things to really learn how to play music. But then we also have like the solo books, and we have the recital books, and all sorts of other books that have to do with the level of study, the 1A right here. And if you open up one of those books, you turn to any one of those pages, you'll see a use with and then a page number. And this one says use with page 28. So if we get to page 28 in the lesson book, I can go ahead and do this specific page right here. It says it up at the top of the page here. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus in on it. And all of those books have all sorts of different songs, some of them being songs that you've heard before, like stuff off of Broadway, even some Disney songs and things like that that they've licensed. So if you're interested in trying any of those books out, you can click on my name and go to my normal YouTube page. And in my description, it actually has all of those books listed. And again, those are affiliate links, so it does help out the channel a little bit. You can also go to Teacher Chris Piano Lessons with an S at the end.com, Teacher Chris Piano Lessons. And I have all those books listed as well as some other supplemental materials and even keyboards listed. But let's go ahead and continue on to page 40, and we're going to learn a little bit more about intervals. Now remember, intervals are things to look out for to really help you to read music super quick. So we've already actually done some of this page. We've done melodic seconds and thirds. We've been looking out for whether it's going from a space note to a line note up a second, line note to a space note up a second, or it's 2 line notes or 2 space notes. That would be thirds. However, there's 2 different types of intervals. There are melodic intervals, and then there's harmonic intervals. Now, the best way to describe melodic intervals is that they are two individual notes. They're played not at the same time, one right after the other. And that's what you sing whenever you sing a melody, is you sing one note at a time. We don't sing two notes at the same time. But when we get to harmonic intervals are played at the same time, but they're the same thing. It's either a second or it's a third. And that just means that they're going to be right next to each other if they're a second, or you'll be skipping over a note if it's a third. Let's look at how to play these. So the very first thing that we have here is a harmonic second. It looks like this. It's a C and D. You just play them right at the same time. And then the next thing we have here is a third. You can see I'm skipping over my second finger. It's a C and an E, two line notes. And then the next measure is second, second, third. Then we go to the left hand, and the left hand has second. That's an F and a G at the same time. Then we have a third. Then we have a second, and then a third. The best way to find these is actually just the way they look. If you look at in the right hand and in the left hand, those seconds, they kind of look like a flower to me with many of the petals just plucked off and only two petals remain. They're kind of diagonal to each other and they're not directly over top. But then if you get to a third's always going to be, just like in the melodic thirds, two line notes or two space notes. And it's kind of like a snowman that's not fully built. I think of it as like the bottom part and the middle part of the snowman, but we didn't put the head on just yet. And you can see that it can be two line notes right there, or it can be those two space notes in the left hand. Let's go ahead and turn to page 41 and check out where the harmonic seconds and thirds are. So at the very beginning, the very first two measures, we have not harmonic seconds, but melodic seconds. We can see the F going to the E, that's a melodic second. We have the E going to a D, and that's a melodic second. And then we have a couple of symbols there that we'll get to in just a minute. Let's look at measure 3 and measure 4 and check out those intervals. It starts with a second, and then it goes to a third, and then another third, and then a second, and then a second again. Those are those harmonic seconds and harmonic thirds. Okay, and then in the last line, in the last two measures, we have it starting with a third, and then 2 seconds, and then a third, and then another third. Okay, so let's look at this blue box up above and see what this new symbol is. Now, we have the quarter rest up here, and the quarter rest just means don't play for one count. Just like the quarter note is one count long, the quarter rest is one count long. And all you do is stop playing for one count. Now, since the word rest is just one syllable long, the easiest way to really do the rests correctly is say the word rest and stop playing when you say the word rest when you reach one in the music. Let's go ahead and write in all the rests in this piece. We have a rest in the second measure right here and right here. And then we have a rest in the fourth measure after that harmonic second right here, and then also right here. Then if we get all the way up to the sixth measure in the right hand on the second line here, it's going to be a rest right here after that C, and then another rest right here. And if we go to the very last measure, the eighth measure of this piece, we have a harmonic third, and then a rest, another third, and then a rest. Now let me go ahead and play this all the way through and show you some of the things you need to be looking out for. Now first of all, we're in C position again. We're going to be starting with the right hand ring finger on F. And you're going to hear me say rest whenever we get to the quarter rest. So 1, 2, ready, play, F, F, 2, E, E, and then D, rest, D, rest. Now the left hand plays a second for 2 counts, then third, third, second, rest, second, rest. And we go to the right hand E here, E2, D, and then C, rest, C, rest. Then we get to the left hand and it's a third, then a second, another second, and then a third, rest, and then a third, rest. And then we go right back up and play F2, E, E, D, rest, D, rest, and we go on from there. Now, just like in all of the other pieces, when we have that repeat sign, it's important to make sure that you come in after the fourth count of that measure, immediately in on the first measure again. And the thing is that the fourth count in this piece is a rest. So you're going to have to make sure that you say rest and then start right over again at the very beginning of the piece. Why don't you go ahead and try this out? Pause the video and see if you can work your way through it, saying rest out loud when you get to those rests and trying out those harmonic seconds and thirds. And I'll see you in a minute. Okay, how'd you do? This one is going to feel a little bit odd at first when you play it on your own without the duet, because while you're playing rests, or actually not playing during the rests, I'm going to actually have music that's being inserted into those rests. So it will match up really, really cool, really, really nice. It'll actually start to sound like an old-timey rock and roll piece if you can get it with the duet this week. Otherwise, it will sound a little bit strange just when you're practicing on your own and getting those rests in, because you're just not playing for a full count. So I encourage you to practice with the play along, but then also try out the duet this week. And in fact, at the very end of the video, I'm going to be doing my own version of the duet that I wrote. That's just a more fun way of playing around with it. It's a little bit distracting, so I don't recommend you just trying it out right away. But once you feel really, really confident with the play-alongs and then also just playing the regular duets up to speed, you can go ahead and try out that cool version of it. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. Okay, so get out your assignment pad. Let's go ahead and write some stuff down here. First of all, we're going to be just doing page 41, rock song, but there's a lot of stuff that you need to make sure that you do. First of all, you're going to be saying the rests this week. Every single time you get to a rest, say it out loud, say it nice and strong, and make sure that you're not holding down a note when you say rest. It's lifting the hand or lifting the finger off the note that it was on and saying the word rest and having silence there. You can also try practicing it without saying the word rest, but just saying it in your head. You can also say the harmonic intervals out loud. I think that's going to help you a lot. So for instance, you can say second, third, third, second, rest, in measures 3 and 4. And also just pull out some of those older pieces that you've been trying to polish up and go ahead and finish those this week. Since you only have one song really truly that you're going to be working on, I highly advise you getting all of those other songs out of the way and really polishing those up this week as well. Okay, a special note about rock song. This is going to be up 1 octave the entire time for your hands, just like we've been doing in some of the previous duets. So just make sure you move 1 octave higher for that C position. 1, 2, ready, play. Rest, rest. Rest, 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 repeat, rest, 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 rest. Rest, 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 rest. One, two, ready, play. rest, 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 rest. That's right. 1, 2, ready, play. F, 2, E, E, D, rest, D, rest, second, third, third, second, rest, rest, E2, D, D, C, rest, C, rest, third, second, second, third, rest, third, repeat, F, 2, E, E, D, rest, D, rest, second, 2, third, third, second, rest, rest, E2, D, D, C, rest, third, 2, second, second, third, rest, rest. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, so here's the bonus footage here. This is the duet that should be a lot of fun to play along to. I did kind of a fancier version of the duet in the book. It's very distracting, so I highly recommend you try some of the other play-alongs and the other duet before you try this one, because I'm playing a lot of cool stuff that might actually distract you and throw you off if you're trying to play it for the first time. So have some fun with this one. This one is not part of your assignment. It's just for the fun of it. One, two, ready, play. Okay, that concludes lesson 8 of the Teacher Chris Learn by Play Piano series. Thank you so much for working so hard for me, and I'll see you next week. Good job today.